Hi! This video explains the technical details of the sign-up context used to profile customers and prospects. It's a clip from a launch event video for 2023 Release Wave 1, but it's equally relevant today. Let's turn it over to Søren, who will tell us more about it.
This is very cool, and we're super excited about this new feature. Now let's take a look at how it works in a bit more detail, in a bit more technical details. So, coming back to the profiler on your website, this is just a regular form you would build. You have full control over your website. You can do questions of different sorts. The most important thing is that at the moment the user hits that start trial or sign up button or whatever you want to call it, that URL that the user is pointed to needs to be constructed by you. And there's some certain elements that need to be in place for that to work correctly. Let's go through those now. Now, if we analyze the sign up URL, we notice that it's sort of consists of two parts that I've marked with different colors here. So the first part, as we saw before, is where we go to sign up to become a Microsoft customer, Microsoft Cloud customer, or sign into our existing AD tenant. And this is sort of a standard way to sign up to a Microsoft Cloud product. You'll see the skew here signifying which product it is. And the other part where it truly gets interesting is what happens after I sign up, where I get redirected to Business Central, where the provisioning starts. This is the exciting piece. And let's dive a bit more into that. This is what we call the redirect URL. So if we zoom into the redirect URL, we can see that it's what's called a URI encoded text. It's not very readable, but that's because it has to sort of survive the journey through the redirects in the browser. If we decode it, we can see that it's a much more readable, much more friendly text string that makes more sense. So it redirects us to businesscentraldynamics.com. It has a parameter redirected from signup that signifies that to our platform that, hey, here was a redirect from the signup experience so we can perform certain actions in our platform. And what you see here marked with bold is the sign-up context. That's a new parameter that we're actually using today to determine whether or not a sign-up happened from the Microsoft website, in which case we call it viral, or if it came from Shopify. So a Shopify merchant can discover Business Central and sign up to a Business Central trial through Shopify. That's the only two scenarios where we use it today. And now we think you could benefit from this feature as well, because it's all about the context of a sign-up. And a context is your website. Even if you have multiple websites, multiple brands, you can have different contexts for each of those. Let's dive one layer further into the sign-up context, because this is key to understand. The sign-up context itself, as a parameter, is also a URI encoded text. That means it's actually double encoded when you encode the redirect URL. Don't worry about all that now. This will be in the documentation, so you can learn all about it. If we decode the sign-up context, it's much more familiar. Now you see it's a text string in form of a JSON key value pair. What's key here is that you can determine those key value pairs. If you decide to use an app to provide the onboarding experience, which of course you should if you don't want to spin up just a plain vanilla BC trial, then there are certain key names, key value pairs that has to be there, but this will be in the documentation as well, so please check that out. Now it gets exciting, because if we look at the sign-up context from before in relation to the profiler, you'll recognize here that I've created, for example, one key called interest, and the value is basic trade, and another key called previous system, pref system, where the value is Excel, and so on. You get the idea. So whatever you ask for, whatever information you want to pass into Business Central, you add it to the sign-up context like this. That's all great, but how can you then react to it? How can you do what we saw before, where you load a specific checklist? Well, as Jakob said, this sign-up context information is stored in a system table inside Business Central. It's your job in an app, when it's installed, to look at this system table and figure out if you can recognize the sign-up context And if you can, you need to transfer it to a base application table. That's also in the documentation. I don't want to deep dive too much in that now. But if we switch to the next example here, now you notice that there's some more information. And here I've added an app ID. In this case, it's just a random good of ones. In your example, you can get the app ID from your store listing on App Store. It's public information. You can just look it up. And there's some other information that has to be present here in the sign-up context when you use an app ID. For example, you need to specify a country code. The country code must match with the country code of the customer's AAD, and it also must match with a supported country of your app. So there's sort of three things that must be a match in terms of country. This will also be in the documentation. You also need to specify the end-user license agreement acceptance as being true. What that means is our APIs that will load the app will not load an app to Business Central if the user hasn't accepted the end-user license agreement. That means that on your website, as part of the profiling experience, you need to provide the user with an option to see that end-user license agreement of your app. It's a small detail, but it's one of the workings of our platform APIs. But with this, what this enables is that your app that you specify here will be loaded as part of the provisioning of the Business Central standard trial. And ultimately, by reacting on the sign-up context, the key value pairs here, I'm able to say, load this checklist item because that matches what the user chose in terms of answer in this profiling question. And you can do all kinds of things here. And of course, we'll make sure that you can have as much control as possible over the initial UI here in terms of roles and so on.
To learn more, visit aka.ms/bconboarding. Thank you for watching.